Okay, hello and welcome to the video. Once again, my name is Wade Daniel Smith, and this video is about a young man that I met, I guess about 6 months ago. I was just walking around the block over in Baton Rouge where I was living at the time, and I happened to hear pow, 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 and I looked around and it was a dude practicing on a heavy bag outside, and I'm not going to use his name because I don't want to embarrass him or nothing like that. But anyway, so I decided to walk over and ask him, find out more information about him and stuff. And it turned out that he already had his first degree black belt in Gracie Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and he was trying to cross train in Muay Thai. So he was in the process of joining a Muay Thai kickboxing dojo, and kicking and punching his bag. His was probably about a 200 something pound heavy bag that he had, and me coming from a mostly striking style, allegedly of Isshinryu, which actually has hundreds and hundreds of grappling moves in it. But anyway, I was like, can I just demonstrate to you some alternate methods of striking that you might find useful? Because I did come from a style that, at least at the introductory and intermediate level, was mostly striking, which is Isshinryu Karate. So he's like, yeah, sure, you can hit the bag. So I'm like, yeah, I explained to him, I'm 43 years old and haven't really worked out on a bag in a long time. But I'm like, so I punched the bag like so hard, straight on, that I blade my own knuckles on the bag. Is how hard I hit the bag, and it flew back pretty much as far as gravity would let it fly, since it was tied off to an oak tree. Is how he was working out on it outside, and then I caught the bag and steadied it again and got to my good kicking range, and I kicked it about as hard as I could too, and it flew back even farther then. And he's like, I wouldn't worry about your age. If you hit somebody that hard, you're going to mess them up for life, And but yeah, I didn't even hit anything wrong on the bag. I just hadn't punched a bag in so long with no wraps or nothing, because I don't need to wrap my wrist, because I know how to throw a punch without hurting myself, even a full power punch, because I never wrapped my wrist when I worked on a heavy bag in karate class and cardio kickboxing class. I never bought wraps because the sensei's wife tried to sell me some $10 wraps, and I told her I didn't want them because I wanted to make sure that my wrist would work in a real street fight for throwing the punch correctly. And unfortunately, she lost a sale because of that. But that was the honest to God truth. I'm like, it's a perfect punch already. I don't need the wrap. Um, but it did bloody my knuckles. Is how hard I hit the bag in one punch. Um, and uh, but so then we talked and stuff like that. And he explained his plan of joining a Muay Thai kickboxing dojo, and of course he already had his Gracie Jiu Jitsu black belt. And I was like, I tried to talk him. I don't know if he's going to or not, but I tried to talk him into fighting at least one amateur fight, because I said you're going to regret it if you don't, because he's a natural 225 pounder African American man, and I'm talking he's really well built at 225 pounds. So I was like, you're the perfect size to fight at heavyweight, and you already got a black belt in Gracie Jiu Jitsu, and you're going to train in one of the best striking styles. I said you need to fight amateur at least one time, or you're going to regret it. And he's like, well, my daddy won't support me to do it because he's like 21 or 22 years old. And he's like, my daddy doesn't want me to do it. I'm like, it doesn't matter what your daddy wants you to do. It's up to you. But it's like, you're going to regret it if you don't at least fight amateur and maybe even pro, as good of a fighter as you are. But I did correct his leg check, because he was leg checking bone first, which is a bad idea. You can break your own leg, whereas if you leg check correctly, you'll break your attacker's leg. Um, but other than that, he was in pretty good shape. And I did explain to him advantages and disadvantages of a vertical fist punch and when to use it versus a twist punch, also, because that's something that very few people have been exposed to, is the advantages of a vertical fist punch, and when to use it and when to use a twist punch and that sort of thing. Um, but he worked on his kicks, and he also had a 225-pound standing water bag. And I didn't kick it as hard as I could, because I didn't want to damage the thing or knock it back like 10 feet or whatever. But I kicked it like a decent hardness, and I'm like, yeah, I can kick it a lot harder than that. And it just about flipped over with me just throwing my leg out there. But he was literally like, if you hit somebody as hard as you can punch and kick, you're gonna absolutely F them up for life. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. Because back whenever I was training full time, I was doing 2 sets of 50 push-ups per day on my own time, and I was doing 10 sets of 20 push-ups at the dojo, 5 sets of 20 during the cardio kickboxing class, and 5 sets of 20 during the traditional Okinawan karate class. And so altogether, I was doing 300 push-ups per day, and I don't know how many jump squats and everything else we did in the cardio kickboxing class, in addition to working on the heavy bag. But that worked your legs an incredible amount. You probably burn 1,000 calories an hour in an advanced cardio kickboxing class. Because I remember whenever I was doing that, I could eat anything I wanted to. I could eat a whole freaking bowl of ice cream and not gain an ounce. Because you burn so many calories when you're working out like that every day that you can eat anything you want to. You can do whatever you want to. And you can dang near rip the head off a bull if you want to, if you're training like that. But like, I've seen one other person doing a video on YouTube who's younger than me now. He's like 21, 22 years old. And he was demonstrating that he does 200 to 300 push-ups a day and 200 jump squats a day. And that's just his warm-up before he even works on technique. So he's a Kyokushin student. I was an Isshinryu Okinawan student. But yeah, if you want a max power punch, you need to do 200 to 300 push-ups a day. That Rocky movie, Rocky 2 and Rocky 4 is real. You got to sit there and you got to, like, a professional boxer can do 150 push-ups nonstop. Because they work on their punching power, and they also work on jump squats just to have leg strength and stability. But the year after I had to quit Isshinryu Karate, I tried signing up at the Kenner Police Department, and the only reason they didn't take me is because I didn't have police academy training. But as far as my martial arts background and my fitness, I was one of the highest scoring people, if not the highest scoring people. And I had never worked out with free weights nor machine weights in my life. All I had done is the cardio kickboxing and karate and Marine Corps Daily 7 and that sort of stuff. And whenever they put me on a leg press machine, I maxed it out at like 680 pounds with both legs at once. And then I was like, let me see how much I can do with one leg, because I've never done this before. But I said, I think it's all the kicking I used to do in karate class, because I got the highest amount of anybody in the leg press. And he's like, all right. So I tried it with one leg, and I could one leg press like 480 pounds with one leg, and it never worked out before in my life. So that explains where my kicking power had built up the leg muscles so much. And I'm still like that because I have the technique, even though, I'm out of shape and haven't practiced full time in a long time. Because people who don't know my story, starting at around 26 years old, I started to develop a very severe case of type 2 diabetes, as well as hemochromatosis and high calcium, which pretty much devastated my nervous system. And then back this past December, I had 2 strokes and 2 seizures around December the 9th, and lost 50% of the grip force and feeling in my left hand. So I'm not at all what I used to be when I was 20 years old anymore. But I can probably still beat just about anybody in a street fight for certain, and probably still beat black belts in a fight. It's just that, I would have to be a little bit more careful than I used to be. But anyway, so yeah, the point of the video is the guy saw right away when I hit the bag that hard with my punch and my kick. He was like, my God, if you hit another human being that hard, you were going to F them up for life. And I'm like, that's the point, that's the point. So, I'm going to end the video the same way I started it.